So guys, today talk about 10 animals that came back from extinction. So extinction is a very sad thing, as we all know. No, of course, extinction is kind of necessary for new species to evolve and take niches. For example, the dinosaurs didn't go extinct, then yeah, they will still roam the world, and mammals will have still been in the dinosaurs' shadows. But the current extinctions are mostly because of us. Some other extinctions are caused because extinctions are bound to happen eventually. And no matter what we do, the animals just decline, and a new species typically takes over. And that species becomes the dominant species. But the current biodiversity crisis is a very, very bad thing. Considering that humans and animals should try to live together. No, I'm not saying that you should accept bison and rats into your house. But for example, in suburban and rural areas, or even some parts of cities where animals can live as well. Well, and we don't have to search, in small areas for nature areas. First animal is a California condor. So this animal is one of the two living condor species. There's the Andean condor and the California condor. Numbers of the largest North American land birds declined so steeply that there are only 27 individuals left. With the poised, they'll basically just put in captivity to save the species. They feed on carcasses, and basically because of lead and DDT, basically they nearly went extinct. So DDT is a very bad, insecticide, which also hurt bald eagle populations as well. The bald eagle populations have recovered, actually, but not the California condor. That's because the California condor breeds very slowly. But now around 300 birds in the wild, and 93 mature individuals, and the odds continue to increase. The status could be improved to endangered, which means America will have one less critically endangered species. Congratulations, America. And also, this is the most expensive conservation project in the world. Maybe one day we'll see them all across America again. Number 2, black stilt. So black stilt is a bird that's basically found in New Zealand. Basically, it been extinct, almost went extinct because of predators. There's cats, stoats, and rats. Because of course New Zealand is basically an isolated ecosystem, once humans introduce predators to New Zealand, basically all the native birds start just disappearing, with probably a few adaptable species actually adapting to it. Numbers have increased to 106 in 2013, but predatory pressure remains. Every 4 to 5 years, a bumper breeze seeds from northern beech trees causes a boom of rats that prey for its eggs. In New Zealand, they set to eliminate all of these predators by 2050. I don't think it's possible to eliminate because, for example, people are still going to be getting cats. And rats, as well, they'll continue coming away through sips. So, eventually, it's a very, very ambitious, definitely. Stoats, they could probably be eliminated, but they're probably pretty hard to take out because New Zealand is a lot of forest. And if an animal breeds very fast, for example, the rabbit in Australia, or a mouse, which mice breed really fast, and rats do, if there's some remote area with a couple colonies of mice, they can just breed themselves back and start appearing again. Okay, tiger. So, tiger is one of the world's largest predators, and they went down from 100,000 individuals worldwide to 3,200. One tiger needs to eat a deer-sized animal a week, so tigers eat once a week. Basically, tigers, there's a new initiative alongside in Asian countries, whereas again, in India, tigers are considered important animals to Indian culture, so Nepal and Bhutan, and China. There's also tigers in Russia, but, the tiger population has gone up for about 4,000, basically. Or I think it's 3,900. But the tiger population has increased for the first time in a century, which is very, very good for the tigers. But I think the population will be rewarded and eventually save the prey, which I think is a very important thing. Next is the mountain gorilla. So the mountain gorilla is a species, a subpopulation of gorilla, is listed as endangered, and basically went up to around 1,000 individuals. The animal is mostly found still in protected sites as well. It's also found in Rwanda. It's found in Rwanda, Uganda, and Democratic Republic of Congo. I think there might be some plan in the future to introduce it outside of protected areas, but at the current point, 1,000 individuals is basically good for a species that they were trying to recover. And maybe some rerouting efforts in Africa might see this animal be found in certain and more parts of the Uganda, Rwanda, and Democratic Republic of Congo. Indus River Dolphin. Indus River Dolphin is a subspecies of the South Asian river dolphin that arises in echolocation found only in the Indus River Basin, mostly in Pakistan. Then once found throughout the whole area, the numbers have shrunk to around 1,200. But now population is now around 1,800, which means this animal is starting to recover. The Antarctic blue whale. The world used to run on whales, but because people used to kill whales a lot for reasons here, basically in the early 20th century and by the early 1970s, there was only around 360 the whales remaining. Blue whales remaining, and they have hooved up the remaining whales and basically left them alone, and now it's 4,500 individuals by 2015. Which means the species is definitely recovering from extinction. European bison, nearly 2 meters tall, and Europe's largest land mammal, which ranges from Spain to Caucasus, but made a remarkable comeback since the last one was killed in 1927. There are only 54 individuals left in the captivity, but now there's basically around 7,000 animals in the world. There was a more updated one where it says there's 7,000 animals in the world, which means the animal populations are really, really increasing fast. And basically, Germany, Poland, and Romania have the biggest herds of bison, but they're also being introduced to the UK. No one ever talks about Europe's bison. Whenever we talk about bison, we always talk about America's bison. But there's definitely far more American bison than European bison. There's around 500,000 American bison and only around 7,000 European bison. But the European bison is now listed as near threatened. And expecting more and more of these animals to be introduced into Europe. And maybe soon we'll see them to least concern. Darwin Rhinoceros. In 2010, the last of these rhinos were killed in Vietnam. And basically, they only found it Luang Kuzan National Park. 50 individuals. Now it's 34, and thanks to efforts led by the Indonesian government, they're basically making the home a protected area and managing the invasive palms as well. And basically, the area where they live is basically protected. And there's also plans to introduce Darwin rhinoceroses to other areas outside of Luang Kuzan National Park. Next is the giant panda. So the giant panda. Okay, I'm not gonna complain about how useless the giant panda basically just sits around over there and eats bamboo. But the panda is basically the most overrated animal on the face of the planet. They're cute, but come on, there are definitely much more species that are going extinct much faster than the panda. Basically what China calls a very rapid decline of giant panda in the 20th century. It's only between 1985 and 1998 found there's only around 1,000 animals remaining, down from the 2,000 detected. But because people we must save the pandas, they're so cute. Now there's basically around 2,000 animals again, and they're no longer listed as endangered anymore. But don't worry, we're not gonna save many animals that should be saved from extinction, like the European hamster, the European eel, and of course the gorillas in Africa that are also listed as critically endangered. And of course there's many other keystone species that are listed as endangered and critically endangered that don't really have much conversation funding. but the panda has the most. Like, yes, the elephant, like, for example, animals in decline like elephants are important keystone species, so they deserve all of it as all of the funding. Same thing with tigers. But do pandas really deserve all the funding they get? Okay, like tigers, elephants, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, same thing with the prey. If you can't have predators without the prey. So yeah, next is the Hainan gibbon, the world's most endangered primate in the world. There were only 9 in 1980s. Hunting in rainforest green has confined them to one block of forest. Basically, in this one block of forest, they basically have increased to around 33 individuals. So that means the most endangered gibbon is actually increasing in population to 33, which means there's hope for other animals like the falcreta, where they're basically in the same status as the Hainan gibbon, near extinction. So yeah, these are animals that have came back from the brink. I think in the next decade we'll see more animals, which like animals like giraffes are starting to increase in population again. So I think we might see an age where animals start to increase in population due to conservation efforts. We're always starting to see this now. I think in the next decade we'll see a lot of animals increase in population, include with rerouting efforts around the world, and of course of conservation efforts around the world to save a lot of species from extinction. So that's basically it for this video. Goodbye.